This is SME on Point. My name is Liabo Setho. Thank you so much for watching SABC News, especially on this Good Friday. While the spread of the coronavirus and the number of infections are increasing in the country, this has brought some business to their knees. But others have rolled with the punches. 3 business owners have decided to partner up and together manufacture much-needed facial masks. This is their story, edited by Manqoba Nkosi. It is the scarcity of personal protective equipment in the midst of the COVID-19 crisis that brought a cleaning business, a fashion designer, and a paint manufacturer together. Realizing their collective potential, they stepped in to manufacture thousands of facial masks.
You know, we come from a background in hygiene where companies were calling us, schools were calling us and saying, please come and clean and sanitize, come and clean and sanitize. So I sat down with my brother and Matlaku and decided, why don't we just collaborate and make what people need?
Our role basically is to stitch the mask. Yeah. So we have connections with suppliers, which connected us with people who supply this fabric that we use for the masks.
We came in from an expertise of chemical compounds. How do you use chemicals, including polymers, to manufacture surgical facial masks? And like you mentioned, that it's a collaboration between 3 entities. So we're coming in from a chemical point of view.
With demand soaring at a fast pace, space has had to be optimized for the production of about 20,000 masks.
So we were only using just 2 rooms, but then we had so many orders that we now had to just use the other rooms, just take out some of the material that we had for fashion and put these in place.
Government has announced a raft of relief and assistance measures for small businesses at this uncertain time. Among them, a business growth and resilience facility aimed at manufacturing businesses.
We've registered on the online platform, but we haven't received response from them. And this has been an ongoing problem, I think, with other entrepreneurs and SMEs as well. You know, you go on Twitter, you find people talking about their frustrations in terms of receiving funding and all. So I hope this will get the message out there to the necessary people and to the necessary stakeholders that there is a possibility or potential that a South African young black-owned based business can actually manufacture surgical masks.
The manufacturing of these masks has created jobs for 40 people who hand make each one. This means that over 40 workers are in one place at a given time. We asked how the business maintains necessary health precautions.
So what we do is we carry our staff to and from home to make sure that they are not in taxis and they are not exposed to other people except for people at home and people that are here.
Yeah.
You know, and we make sure that everyone has gloves on, everyone has masks on, and we've got your sanitizers as well.
Mashiane believes that if they can get a bigger space to work in, they could employ even more people and hopefully supply the health sector too.
We'd like to help maybe the hospitals rather than just helping just the general public.
While the world scrambles for a vaccine for a virus that has already claimed many lives across the world, opportunities for entrepreneurs to come up with innovative solutions are here for the taking. Liabo Setho, SABC News, Johannesburg. Thank you so much to Basani Cleaners and their partners for letting us tell their story on SME on Point. And that insert was obviously shot by my colleague Manqoba Nkosi and assisted by another colleague, Thabo Madilola. So Nedbank is one of the banks that have been appointed to help with facilitating the distribution of loans to small businesses on behalf of a trust that was set up by the Oppenheimers. This is to relieve the impact of the COVID-19 on businesses. But for now, I want us to chat to Alan Shannon, who's the executive and sales as well as distribution executive at Nedbank Retail Business Banking, to get an update on the trust and if you as small businesses have been successful indeed in doing that. Alan, it was welcome you to SME on Point. It's a pleasure to have you. I hope you're enjoying your Good Friday.
Yep, it's been great so far, and thanks for having me on your show.
Thank you so much. And then let's just get an update. Now that we have an extension, it's obviously now quite worrying the amount of money that will be available for small businesses to help them at this difficult time. What has been the experience of Nedbank through the trust?
So the trust has been, so far, has received well. I mean, the awareness around the trust seems to be great. If I just reflect on what we as Nedbank individually have experienced over the last few days, we've had in excess of 2,000 people seek assistance via us through to the trust. And so, and that's sort of coming in at a rate of about between 500 and 700 businesses a day are sending in applications to sort of yield the benefits of the trust.
One of the criteria that you've set is that one has to be able to prove that they've been impacted by COVID-19. How are you making your checks and balances to be sure indeed that they are being affected, especially if they're not your clients?
Yeah, so in fact, each of the banks is dealing exclusively with their own clients insofar as this initiative is concerned. So all the four major banks and Mercantile and Capitec have just recently come on board as well. So I think we're now representing collectively all small businesses out there. So I think we're pretty much in a strong position to understand our own clients well. And a lot of it's sort of intuition-based. There's certain industries out there that are being very specifically and directly impacted by what's happening with respect to the COVID-19 virus. There's certain industries such as perhaps the sanitizer manufacturing industry, grocery stores, pharmacies, they're not feeling the same level of impact as many of the other industries out there. So it's fairly easy for us to sort of distinguish who should be finding the value through the trust. And a lot of this is based on good faith that we're placing on the individuals approaching us. They are sort of justifying why they have been impacted by this thing, and we're happy to sort of rely on the good faith that they're bringing to us.
Ellen, my conversation with some of the entrepreneurs, particularly one that I spoke to in the insert that we played not too long ago, talk about the frustrations when they deal with government relief fund processes. How fast is the turnaround with regards to Nedbank? And I'm also curious to find if the application process, the ease of it, because there's also a lot of complaints about the ease of the application process.
Yes, so the application process, and I guess it's probably different for each of the banks, but certainly from a Nedbank perspective, people really just need to enter our website, go to the business part of the Nedbank site. The instructions, when you enter the site, you're about 3 clicks away from being able to complete the application form. It's not a particularly onerous application process. People should expect to wait 3 or 4 days to get a response, just given the response that we've had and the sort of volume that we're coping with at the moment. But it's not onerous. It's easy to access. There's not reams and reams of information. A lot of it is giving us basic information, making certain declarations, and on the back of those, we'll make a decision on behalf of the trust and work towards making sure that the employees of these organizations receive funds on a weekly basis.
Yeah, you also mentioned that businesses can apply for funding of about, 750 per employee. This is for employees for a period of 15 weeks. Won't you just simplify that for us?
Correct. So the small business themselves are essentially making a loan application from the trust. The terms of that are interest-free. Payment is only anticipated to be repaid at the end of a 5-year period. What will happen is that as agents, we will then pay the proceeds of those loan agreements directly to the employees of these small businesses.
Okay.
We will pay them at a rate of 750 Rand per week for a total of 15 weeks. And collectively, that means 11,250 Rand per employee of these small businesses.
I want to remind our viewers once again the criteria that you look at as Nedbank.
Yes, so in fact, it's South African Future Trust criteria. Again, we're acting as their agents. But typically what we're looking at is businesses that have been around for a period of 2 years and are doing annual sales turnover of less than 25 million Rand. So we've been quite specific. It has to be, for this specific fund is looking to target small businesses.
Yeah.
Those are 2 key criteria. 2 years because we want to make sure we're dealing with businesses that are sustainable or have proved themselves to already be sustainable. And of course, less than 25 million Rand because we're specifically trying to target small businesses here.
Ellen, thank you so much for speaking to us on SME On Point, and I hope that entrepreneurs and small business people will take advantage and go through the Nedbank website to see if they can be assisted, especially because this lockdown has been extended until the end of April, and I can imagine that more help is going to be needed from that front.